All right, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit that notification bell. So every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. You know, over the past couple of years, there's been a big hype, big write-up, a lot of videos of young people starting trucking businesses or trucking companies due to the pandemic. COVID-19 pandemic, there was a big supply and demand for transportation needs for supplies, for goods in this country, because there was a lot of people not working, people getting sick, people passing away, people refusing to go to work, so the demand for truckers increased. There were like bottlenecks at the ports, couldn't get the stuff out fast enough. So this created a need for truckers, and so a lot of people jumped out there into the business and making good money. But now it seems things have gone back to normal, and it's not a good thing for truckers. So we want to get into this article from AOL.com. Speaking about this issue that's going on now, and just going to read and give a little commentary about the whole situation. It says truckers flooded the market during COVID. Now they struggle to pay their bills. It says in the midst of the pandemic, with consumers buying up goods for their lockdown lifestyle and supply chain snarl, Anisha Barron saw a moment to make her dream of starting her own trucking company come true. Yes, everybody's at home, and I'm sure Amazon stocks, they say them richest people, billions, got made more billion, like $400 more billion during the pandemic, because everybody was at home shopping online, especially Amazon. And with that being said, you need more people to drive, you need more warehouses, you need more Amazon drivers, and so there was a supply and demand, and some people started trucking companies. The 39-year-old single mother of three had worked for 6 years driving a semi-truck across the country as an employee of a trucking company. But in 2021, as shipping rates surged, she decided to strike out on her own. She took out a loan for a new $175,000 truck and was soon taking home as much as $20,000 a month. Now, let's go back to something my dad used to tell me. He said that when you see things hyped up in the papers, on the news, what have you, big money's already been made. It's a hype, if you will. And it's always good to kind of sit back, research, study things in depth before you jump out there. You remember, even in this past, like I said, during the pandemic, this not really Bitcoin, but the Bitcoins and all the other little cryptocurrency. There's people getting rich like real quick off these Doge coins and off these meme coins. And so you heard a lot of people, I'm gonna say in our community, was like, oh man, I'm gonna put money in this Bitcoin stuff, and so I can make this money. They're making money out there. And I was always thinking, nah, the way they're promoting it and pushing it, nah, it's just gonna be a quick fast. If you ain't already got into it, you ain't gonna make the money off the coins that they're promoting. Now, if you're doing research on coins and studying and learning about the crypto market and the whole digital what is it called? Unregulated, or what decentralized. You doing the decentralized coins, and you studying all that kind of stuff and the blockchains and all that, and you understand what you're doing, and then you invest, fine. But if you're just gonna go out there and just buy, the Dogecoin and stuff like that because somebody made $10 million last week, you're not gonna make $10 million this week. Matter of fact, you probably put in 1,000 losing money. I mean, I've invested in some cryptocurrency in the past, and I don't even know truth be told, because it went down, up and then down so much, and it hadn't been a whole lot said about it, I hadn't even looked at my accounts in like months, because I know I ain't made millions, but like I said, I don't know. Like, I don't know how much. I know there ain't a whole lot in there to where I can just take it out and live, live for the rest of my life. But I might just go back and look at it after I make this video. It says, it was amazing. I was a teen parent. I had my first child at 15, and all the odds were against me, Barron said. I had all 3 of my children graduate from high school while I was in a truck, and I still made it happen. But like thousands of other truck drivers across the country, Barron's fortune didn't last long. Over the past year, shipping rates have tumbled, leaving her and other drivers who bet big on a truck and boom struggling to make a living. Now, here are these key stats. It said the number of trucking companies, many consisting of just a single truck and a driver, increased by 50% during the start of the pandemic and the end of last year, with workers lured to the industry by record pay from companies desperate to move their goods, and social media influencers promote trucking as a way to get rich quick, said Todd Spencer, president of the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association. It's kind of like nursing. The pandemic changed a lot of people's outlook in the way that they do things. People have always did travel nursing, right? People do it for good money. They pay you to travel. They pay for your room and board. They pay for pretty much everything. Plus, they pay you a bunch of money to work all across the country for whatever reason. When the pandemic hit, and a lot of nurses just quit, refused to work, got sick, passed away, there was a need for other nurses. So you had places that were paying like hundreds of dollars per hour for you to travel to where they're at to work in hospitals or the medical industry somewhere. Along with, paying for your hotel, paying for your travel, making big money. And so it caused a lot of people to quit their jobs working at one particular building and traveling across the country. Now things have changed to where, the pay ain't as much. People starting to realize that they're not getting the benefits, not getting the contracts like they were. I mean, it's going back to pre-pandemic levels. And so a lot of people were complaining, they like, man, they were able to work like 3 months, 6 months out the year, and then was off for like 3 straight months, then go back, and then go back to work and make enough money, and then be off, a month or 2, whatever. Things are good. And now things are going back to normal. But what the pandemic did on the nursing side is there are people who say, man, I'm not going back to work. I'm going back and working no buildings again. I'd rather make less money or make decent money and just travel around, only deal with certain people and places for so long and then move on. And I think that's why people started doing trucking, because trucking, you had the freedom to drive, be on the road, not be behind no desks, not have nobody watching over you. All you gotta do is just drive from one place to another, drop a load, unload it, come back, and you just keep that up. I was like, I won't say really approached, but somebody talked to me about, doing trucking when the pandemic hit. But the one thing that I remember was that they talked about, one of the big things the news talked about was these driverless trucks. They're trying to bring these driverless trucks, especially here in Texas. And it actually is a company in the Dallas area, who were going to test out like 20 trucks and go from Dallas to either Houston or Dallas to Austin and back, and see how that goes, because that's what's about to come. But so it was kind of odd to me that they was promoting truck drivers, and then they were making these trucks to where young girls, young women can drive these trucks easy. And I've known truck drivers, and they say that older trucks, they're hard to drive for a rookie. There's a lot of gadgets and levers, and it's a lot to do. It's a heavy truck. Steering wheel's hard to turn. It's a lot of focusing. But now they made trucks to where the person can drive it, something like driving a car or like a regular pickup truck. There's not a whole lot to it. So it made it easier for anybody to just buy a truck, get behind a truck, and start driving. I can say it's probably a setup. I can say these trucker companies saw what was coming, and so they had to find a way, government behind it too, find a way to get rid of inventory, get rid of these trucks. And how they're gonna do it, they're gonna push the market, they're gonna push to have people start trucker companies. And I think, and you might think that's a conspiracy theory, but man, it's a lot of things. Like I say, when you see the government, or when you see a big push behind anything, always sit back and look at it on a deeper level. On a deeper level. It's like when you go online, how many of y'all, I know I get a lot of feeds where people try to promote this. Hey, I can show you how to make such amount of money doing this or doing that, selling real estate, buying real estate, making money online with just using your computer, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. That stuff is being pushed because there's no market for it. Even if it's true, there's really no market for that no more. So what they're gonna do, they're gonna sell you a course on how to do what was done, but everybody and their mama's already done it. So you can get into this YouTube thing and do your videos and make your podcasts. Everybody making podcasts, and YouTube channels, including here. And you can make decent money. I remember when I first started like years ago, but I was kind of in the middle, trying to get my nursing license and doing, working and going to school, doing all the other stuff to where it was kind of hard to find a lot of time to get behind the camera and do videos. But you can make a few videos. If somebody just start watching your video, you can make, from the beginning, make like money. I think I had like a $7 check somewhere that YouTube had. They never sent it to me, and I never seen the money because after a while they changed the rules to where you had to have so many subscribers and so many hours viewed. But at first, you can just jump on YouTube and just make money just like that. Oh man, I got $7 here, I got $10 here. Me and my friends and cousins, we just brag about, laugh at it. We got the little check, but now you have to have so many followers and so many views to where before you can even get monetized. The game has changed, but they had to stop people from trying. But it ain't like it, but it ain't like it used to be. Let's see. It says, but as consumer spending has eased over the past year and the volume of goods needed to be shipped has returned to pre-pandemic levels, there is less demand for all those drivers, creating competition that has driven down shipping rates. Basically, the good times have come and gone, said Spencer. There's a shakeout in the works right now. It's more than likely going to continue throughout this year. And this is one of the big stats I want to read a couple of these stats here. It says 15,000 trucking companies shut down their operations since 2022. The major being owner operated with just one truck, says Dean Croker, principal analyst at DAT, a trucking logistics and analytics firm. He estimated another 2,000 carriers may have to leave the market before the supply of drivers meet the demand. I said Barron said she went from making $20,000 a month, which is March of 2022, was like a year and a few months ago, to just over $3,000 a few months later in July. After fuel prices surged and demand slowed, that wasn't enough money to keep up with her family's expenses back home, which included $2,600 in rent, along with a $1,400 a month loan payment for her truck. In August, she surrendered her truck to the lender, losing her $4,000 down payment and having to pay $7,000 penalty for returning the vehicle. This is why I say you have to do the research. I mean, it sounds good. You get big out of it. Somebody said, man, you can make big money doing trucking. That's fine. But in the real world, you cannot compete with the big trucking companies. The big trucking companies still gonna make their money. They're gonna continue to work. And when there's a problem, yeah, they'll outsource work. If you're lucky enough, you do a good enough job, you give it the right people, you may continue to keep your job, keep your truck, and make money, but you ain't gonna make what you did. But yeah, they'll outsource work until that demand eases back, and then they're gonna go back and give their people the jobs, and then you're gonna be stuck looking for work, and they're not gonna pay you. I'll give you like a personal example, and then I'm not gonna read the rest of this. I'll post this, remind me to post this link in the description. But notaries, I'll say 5, so it's about 7, 8 years ago. 7, 8 years, about 7, 8 years ago. I was living another part of town, another house. Oh, probably longer than that. So anyway, it was a guy, not probably longer than that, probably about 10 years ago. Because I was living in a house, had a neighbor who was in like the housing market, selling houses, mortgage business, what have you. I think he's a real estate agent now. But he told me that this is when I was still in school, still trying to work part-time, whatever the case may be. He was telling me back then, dude, you ought to get into the notary business. And he explained it to me. And he told me how much money you can make. And he said it's simple, real, all I gotta do is know how to read, print them out, print out the contracts, highlight where you want people to sign you, but really you can't highlight. I think rules will probably change. Or you say, you put like a note here, a little note, a little sign to say, hey, sign here, sign here, sign here, so you won't miss. And you just go and you have people signing. Now we're talking about loan, like refi, people doing refis on their house. And he said you get you a notary, and then you can get this certification, pass a little easy test or whatever, and you sign up to do, like I said, refi. And you can do notaries for like $10. Because I remember when I first got into it, people would say, man, you can't make that much money in notaries. I make $10, I make $10, or somebody I know make $10, $20 per notary. That's it. They didn't know about the Wi-Fi. I mean, the refi part. So when I first started doing notaries, it was, you sign up, put your name out there, people call you. Main thing they would tell you is make sure that you buy that phone. You got to answer your phone every time it rings, which I hate to do because I don't know the number, I don't want to answer. But with notaries, you have to answer the phone. So I answer the phone. I say, hey, I got a job over here. What did it say? 100 pages, paying $100. Can you do it on this day? Sure. Okay. I'm gonna email you the forms, and you print them out, and you take them to the people's house. They y'all meet somewhere. They sign the papers. You bring them back. You bring them back. Put them in an envelope. Put them in the post office, UPS, whatever, and that's it. Once they get to the company, a couple of days, everything is cool. They'll pay. You get your $90, your $100, $125, just depends. So it was cool. I was dealing directly with a title company, and we had a pretty good rapport. But sometimes they would call, and I couldn't do the job. They said, okay, we'll call somebody else. The thing is, if they call somebody else, and they always answer the phone, that's who they're gonna keep calling. And then you probably won't get any more calls unless the other person won't answer. So a lot of people wasn't in doing that. But it was easy for me to get jobs. And then the apps came to where they send you a job and you sign up for it, but it was competition. Once they started doing it, like I say, in the beginning, you can make anywhere from like $100 to $150, maybe $200 for a sign. Depends on when they needed it and where it was done. You can demand a price. But then the notary thing started popping up everywhere on YouTube. So, you know, people got channels, people got commercials. Everybody and their mama was doing it. And then these apps popped up. You know, you got Sign Doc. That's not what it is. Anyway, you got these apps where these title companies, these loan companies, mortgage companies, they'll send the paperwork to them, and then they shoot out a mass text message to everybody that's a notary in your area and say, hey, this job is available. You click on it, and if you accept it fast enough, you can get it. So prices started dropping from, like, say, $100-something to $90 to $75, which I think is like probably like the going rate now. No, like I said, unless you get somewhere out in like rural America and nobody else is doing it, or if they need something done. I think that's the one I saw recently. They needed something done like within a couple of hours, and they was paying damn near $200 for it. But normally, like I say, it's $75 to $100. So my point is, it was a supply and demand. They needed notaries, they didn't have enough. So somebody put it out and pushed it. Like I said, this is after my neighbor told me, like years after, because I just started up to maybe like 2-3 years later. And then maybe a few years after that, a couple years after that, that's when I started seeing the big push for everybody can be a notary. So now it's like, it's simple, but it's a lot of notaries out there who do refis. And so now the going rate, like I say, you mainly see what I mainly see out here. It's $75. So you're not making the same amount of money. It used to be I could say, oh man, I'm making $30 to $40 an hour doing notaries. Because from the time to take the print, the time to look over the documents, the drive, the signing, and the mailing it back, total at the max, you're looking at 3 hours worth of work. You know, and then if you do your taxes right, if you do enough of them, you can get your write-offs and all that kind of stuff because you're like an independent contractor. But like I said, the point is, once everybody started doing notaries and more people started signing to be a notary, that's when the prices dropped from, like, let's say, $125, $150 down to like $75. Because people gonna sign up for it. A lot of people have complained. Now I don't do a whole lot of them like I used to. I mean, I still do some every now and then, but it's not like it used to be because, like I say, the money just ain't the same. It's like, it's kind of time to move on to something else. You can keep that. I keep that in my back pocket for when I say, oh, let me go and make a few extra dollars real quick. I ain't doing nothing else today except sitting around watching Tubi. Yeah, I can do a notary that day. And let that be the reason. But that's the thing, like I said, my point is, you gotta know when to get in on something. Like I said, I got in on the notaries a little early, maybe not as early as I should have, or I could have, but I got in on it early, you know, so making decent money on these notaries, and now the market is saturated. It's hard to make money. But what you gotta do is you gotta research, but you gotta do your research pretty quick in this day and age, but you gotta study what's the market and what's going on. Kind of like segue in it with this, the stock market. A lot of people talk about, oh man, I'm getting stock market, making a lot of money. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not gonna make a lot of money. If you understand the stock market, you know, first of all, you're not gonna get rich overnight. I learned stock markets from an older white man who was a patient of mine years ago. He told me how to get into it and what to do. Again, I didn't get into it like I should have, but I did do some things. And right now, I've recently gotten back into studying the stock market and learning how to invest. Not try to get rich, but try to invest so that over time, when I get older, that money will be there. I'm trying to learn the tax codes. Trying to learn about taxes how to invest, how to invest money, how to make money, paying as few taxes as possible. It's all a big game. We all play the same game, but we play by by different rules. So when you get into stocks, one thing that one of the guys told me, what the guy told me was, look at the pharmaceutical stocks, and this is like free game. Because thinking about, I can tell you what to do, but I know the majority of people ain't gonna do it, so it is what it is. Because I told people this over the years, and I haven't heard anyone say they've done it, but I've done it and made money off of it. He said, look at the pharmaceutical stocks. They're working on drugs, and it gets to a certain level, right? It's like phase, it's like 4 phases. If you get to a certain phase, there's a good chance that it's going to pass. If it's not at that phase yet, then he recommends not to invest in it. But if it's at a certain phase, then or a certain step or whatever it is, you invest in it and you just sit on it. Now, another thing about stock market is you got to keep your money invested for at least a year. Whether it's in one company or whatever company. It doesn't necessarily have to be that one company. If I'm not mistaken, you can take that money and invest it in something else, and trade it to something else to invest in, and you cool on taxes for now. And once you make money, it's kind of like reinvesting dividend stocks, which is something people should get into. But anyway, he said get into that stock, hold it. Once it passes, once it's approved, stock is going to jump up. They're going to bid on, they're going to buy, the valuation of the company is going to grow. By that time, you should already have researched other pharmaceutical companies or whatever, research any other stock companies, or use that money to get into an IRA or mutual funds. Put that money in IRA or mutual funds, whatever. But yeah, by the time that stock goes up, you should be done invested or invested or researched other companies. So when that stock blows up, you put that money into a different stock and you just sit on it and you just let it grow. You just sit on it, and then once that company, drug is approved and the valuation go up, then you sell that stock, and by that time, you just keep doing a cycle. But it's work. It's work. You gotta study. And it really only takes maybe a few hours a week if you want to do it like that. Again, you can make money and put it in mutual funds or IRA, Roth IRAs or whatever, and let it sit, which is what you should do in the stock market is a slow man's game. It's a long-term game. But trying to make money quick, and that's what the problem is, I think, with the truck driver. Try to make money quick. And it's good if you know how to make your money and stack it, because it's going to be downtime. There's always going to be a downtime in anything. Business, stock market, regardless. Anything you invest in, make a lot of money in, there's going to be a downtime. And then there's going to be a time where it's up, and then it'll go back down. There's going to be time where it level off. So you can't time the system. You just have to get in it and stick with it, but understand when it's time to get out and try to, figure out to do something else. But anywho, that's all I got for this. Tell me what you think about this story. Do you know somebody who, drove trucks? You drive trucks, how's your income changed in the past 2-3 years? In the past few months, this young lady here, she started out making, let's say $20,000 in March, and then by the time June, July hit, she's making $3,000. Man, that's a big difference. But like I said, I think it's a whole government. There's a government push behind it, man. I just be leery of that. But anyway, tell me what you think. Leave your comments below and then share it with the world. And with that being said, I leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.